get a few comments every now and then asking what happened to my garden railway. So welcome to the garden railway once again. Hello everyone, I'm Matt, this is Model Minutes, and this is a bit of an update video really, because I know people ask about it. So it's been 5 years since I created this garden railway, and in those 5 years the weather has not been particularly kind to it, and as you can probably tell, this is probably the end of it. It's been a bit of a learning curve. I've learned quite a few bits and pieces, but after, I think in the last 2 years, it's just been neglected really. So the first things I probably want to talk about is that we've got the gravel here under the ground. I couldn't even get in here into this part of the garden like up until last week. All of this under here was absolutely coated in brambles. So that was the first thing I had to do in order to get even into the garden. So now taking a look, the railway, and I think if you were here in 2020, you can see that the railway went up there, it went round this hydrangea, I think it is, and then back along here, all the way down there, around the other hydrangea at the bottom, and then it came back up again. Well, I know when I built this, I pretty much did it for cheap. I did it with recycled materials. It was never really meant to be a permanent layout, but there are a few things I think we probably should discuss about what's happened with this railway. So first up, the first thing I discovered when I built this is that my garden isn't level. So that end is lower than that end, which meant that when I was running trains, they would be going either downhill or uphill, so there was always a constant struggle, and some locomotives couldn't cope. So in the future, if I was going to rebuild this, I would want to make it as level as possible, but it's something I didn't realise at the time. So as you can see, over the last 2 years, I've not had the chance to get out here, and these ferns have just grown up over the entire thing. I think the track is salvageable. It has tarnished slightly. I did use nickel silver for the track work. I think it's all Bachmann. So I think if I washed it and gave it a good clean, it would be salvageable. But interestingly, if I just dig in the back over here, this is actually some Hornby track. This is steel. And you can see that in comparison, get close enough, the steel track looks a lot worse than the nickel silver. So this is just absolutely corroded, absolutely unusable. But that's what 5 years of weathering and erosion does. Right, other things. The track itself isn't exactly as pinned down as it once was, and the plants are going to need cutting back. So if I were to get this running again, I'd have to sort out all of this. As you can see, like even here, the wood has started to rot. So a lot of this will just need replacing, which makes me think that this probably isn't worth saving. It may get to a point where we just do something different. Another problem that we've had is that if we come down to this end of the layout, so here was our flyover, our bridge, and you can see that the bridge has completely fallen apart. So we don't actually own this wall. This wall here is actually a neighbour's wall, and we gave them permission to come in and paint. They had some workmen come around, and I think that in their painting process they may have, dismantled this. So this would need to be torn up and repaired. The problem, of course, with all of this is that it was just laid on soil, so over years the soil has sort of compressed in some places, so it would all need to be pulled up and re-levelled. The track goes up and under there, but yeah, this is pretty much the end of this garden railway, I think, which is a bit of a disappointment. Sadly, in the last couple of years, I just haven't had the chance to get out here. We've had a lot of rain. I think last year in particular was particularly wet, so that meant there just wasn't the opportunity to come out here and have a play with it. In the first year or two, I was out here quite frequently running trains, but some of the things I want to improve, and I discovered in my use of it, is because it's basically on ground level, it's a lot of bending down, it's a lot of standing back up again. If something falls off the rails, it's, going and finding it. It's not as accessible as I would like. So if I were to redo this, I'd want something a bit more permanent that isn't just built on, these were pallets. These were pallets that I got for free from a previous workplace. So I just knocked something up. So I would want to get something a bit more permanent. Maybe I could build a low level wall and run it along the wall. I would also want to level it so that it, the locomotives and the trains aren't struggling as much. I'd also want to maybe make it more like I just can't get round to the back of this over here. It's just so difficult. Like if I come over here, come around the corner, you can just see like it goes around the back there, and I just can't get into there without dismantling things. So whilst it was a lot of fun, it wasn't particularly the most practical. And just as a small point, this is a cheap barbecue set that we had, and I obviously set it up to barbecue some years ago, and even the charcoal briquettes have got moss growing on them. So that shows how much time I've had to get out here, with work, family and other commitments. It's just such a difficult balancing act. But yeah, I don't think that I want to completely abandon having a garden railway. I do actually have another section of the garden which I could use, which might be a bit more manageable. But here, I think sadly, this is probably the end of this one. Without serious work and repairs, I'm afraid that this chapter of the garden railway has come to a close. So that is pretty much it. I know a lot of people do ask what's going on with the garden railway, and this is what's going on with the garden railway. It's basically nothing. It may have to be replaced. I think that we're probably going to do something with this space because this is a sort of side garden that doesn't get any sunlight. So we're going to try and figure out another thing to do with it. I mean, it still kind of works. I don't think it would take a lot of work to get this to be working again, but it's just not really fit for its purpose. Everything would need cleaning, everything would need leveling, and I'd have to cut back all of these plants as well. So I mean, I could get it to work, but I'm not sure the amount of time to fix this problem is necessarily the right course of action. It might be better to start afresh with something new and start a new chapter in the garden railway. But yeah, let me know, what do you think? Do you think starting something afresh, maybe something a bit bigger and a bit better, might be the right way to go? I mean, when I first built the railway is just in behind there. You can only just see it down the bottom. This was a rose plant, which I got from like a couple of twigs, basically, and now this is proper grown up. So even getting in to sort out the railway at the back there is going to be a bit of a hassle with these prickly roses here. But yeah, don't get me wrong, I had a lot of fun with this project. It was good fun when I started it. I love having a garden railway. I just don't have time for this particular one. So yeah, hopefully in the future at some point I'll move on to something bigger and better. But for now, I'm afraid that this may be the last we see of this one. And on that, I'm going to leave this one here. Thank you so much for watching. As always, quick shout out to my Model Club members for the extra support they give the channel. If you'd like to join these guys on screen here, check out the links in the description to find out more. There are, of course, other ways to help support this channel if you'd like to do so, and full information is again under the video. If you'd like to support this channel for free and perhaps see what I do with a garden railway in the future, make sure you subscribe with notifications turned on so you don't miss that when it comes out. Finally though, from me here in the garden railway, it's time to say goodbye, and I'll see you all again next time.